want my keys go. Going.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to Insomnia 64. We have the esports stage, and I'm going to run out of superlatives for this stage over the weekend. I just know it. Look at it. Absolutely wonderful. Our second match today is going to be another doozy. It is the Overwatch British Esports Championship Colleges Grand Finals. Now, this is a national tournament. Again, we've got teams from England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, and they've all played it out over 2 seasons, and the teams you will see today are the 2 top teams. It's a battle of the North versus the South. I cannot wait, so let's get them on stage. Team number 1, we have the Seers. Legadif, the captain there, taking his seat. And their opponents from the south, it's the Falcons! Loving that shirt. I want that. Sensei Shark, the captain there, taking his seat. They've already won the shirt game for me. What an unbelievable shirt. Now, talking about shirt game, we've got 2 casters who know exactly what I like. It's Big Hungry Phil and Vowels.
Thanks, Stu. Yeah, very happy to be here. It is going to be a real humdinger of a match, as you said, Battle of North versus South. I can't speak for Vowels. I'm not that familiar with his family history. I'm a Northerner myself, so I might have a little bit of a vested interest in this, but I'm just going to play this out, see how it goes. Vowels, tell me, how are you feeling today?
I mean, for first things, I'm Welsh. I don't have a horse in this race.
Cymru and Biff, indeed.
Indeed. It's going to be an exciting matchup, though. Both these teams have had dominant runs through the college group stages and then the playoff bracket. I'm looking at Seers and Falcons. Both like to mix things up a bit, play some of the more interesting picks. Not a fan of the 3-3 compositions, go for the traditional dive, maybe pull out the death ball as well. It's going to be good to see some DPS action for once.
It is, and it's worth noting, you know, this is not just players that we've picked out of the ether. So these are some very high-level players. You know, we have top 500 Tracer players. We have top 500 DPS players just in general. So this is going to be some high-level gameplay.
Absolutely. Looking at Legadif, maybe pulling out that pocket Junkrat?
Maybe. Yeah, it's a long time since we've seen any Junkrat taking center stage, so I'm looking forward to... Oh, also, we're playing on the live patch.
Absolutely.
So we've got those recent Junkrat changes. It is a whole new, exciting, explodey world for Junkrat mains.
Yeah, still a relatively new patch. We've seen a lot of changes to how DPS work, seen some changes to Lucio and Zen, those 2 standard supports, that kind of have changed up the meta a little bit. They can't carry a team in the same way it used to be, give the same kind of mobility and damage bonus to the rest of the team, and that's let DPS flourish a little bit more, who can provide that kind of damage and that kind of mobility on their own without relying on their teammates.
Yeah, so the thing that's come through as a Lucio player myself, I'm particularly happy to see is the change to the way that the boop mechanics have played. And so boops have this really special place in Overwatch because unless you're Orisa, there's nothing you can do to counteract being booped. You have a little bit of an air strafing potential, but you know, you get booped off the edge, that's it, you're going down. Yeah,
we've seen a lot of changes to how knockback works, but those boop mechanics much stronger, and of course, while that does affect Lucio, we're maybe going to see heroes like Pharah come into the mix, where the Concussion Blast, suddenly a much stronger ability, able to displace your opponents, isolate those single targets to get that direct rocket in, and it's an easy pick.
Yeah, I'm glad they just didn't revert her all the way back to where she did 2,000 damage to shields with her Concussive Blast. That might have been a little bit of a rework too far.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
No. You know, you're going to reveal yourself as a Pharah player.
I mean, I don't play a lot of DPS in general, but when I need to, Pharah's a pretty easy one.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're seconds away from getting started on the action. We're going to be moving over to Nepal first. Nepal, of course, is one of the control maps. For those of you unfamiliar with how this setup works, it is a miniature best of 3. We have 3 maps within each pool, and it's basically a race to who can kill the other team the quickest and then hold on to that point.
Yep, take control of the single objective, control it for as long as you can, start building up that percentage points. First team to win 100 wins the round, take 2 rounds, you win the map. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm having to explain it to you. Honestly, it's child's play. But yeah, Nepal I like as a map set. I think each of the 3 maps plays in a very different style. We have maps within Nepal that have their own very set meta. I'm thinking in particular of Sanctum, where it's quite usual to see the Orisa bunker composition coming out.
Yeah, Sanctum, talking about those knockback changes we were just referring to, you have that large pit of death in the middle. Definitely somewhere where we can maybe see the Lucio come out, have a field day getting boops into the pit. Yeah. The choices as well, with a Halt ability, get a nice couple pulls, and just bunker down on point as well. And my personal favorite hero, Roadhog.
Oh, yes.
It's not too often we see Roadhog in just about any meta over the last year or so, but when he does come out on maps like Sanctum, where he does have that pit to work with, brings joy to my heart.
Yeah, and Roadhog is one of these characters that, yes, he's labelled as a tank, but in a lot of other games, he'd be thought of as a bruiser. So he's one of these characters that is very hard to kill, does a lot of damage, is a real threat on the field. And now that we are seeing these more DPS-centric compositions start to come back into the front, he is a really, really viable pick. So
yeah, I'm just putting that out there now. Whoever plays Roadhog first, you've got my MVP vote.
Yeah,
Looking at the other rounds of Nepal, though, we have Shrine and we have Village. Village is kind of a notorious map for... is one of the best maps to pull out May. May is maybe one of the most frustrating heroes to play against.
Tell me about it.
Speaking of Village, that's where we're going to be headed to first. So if maybe one of these teams pull out that May pick, her wall perfectly sized for the doors on the point, get a nice little bit of area control, split off some targets, get some nice, easy picks.
Yeah, but one of the things that is worth noting is we used to see this May pick particularly when we were seeing the Goats variant. So you would see the May coming in place of a Diva.
Even before then, we saw a lot of Ryan Zaya compositions where you would maybe combine the May with a Reaper, isolate someone, and have some quick, instant burst damage just to take them out quickly.
And the point I was trying to raise there is, of course, that these are not Goats teams. These are not guys that are going to be running that tried and true 3-3. Yes, if you look up at the character select icons at the minute, we do have Ryan Zarya, but they were a good combo before Goats was even a thing. But we're out of the gates, guys, and we're off both teams running a Lucio, so we're going to see, hopefully, clashing on the point. Falcons taking the early route up to the top here, hoping to get the engage nice and early up here. And actually, both teams coming from this high ground engage, and it looks like Seers have actually got the advantage in terms of aggression as they push in on the Falcons and force them to back off a little bit, waiting for some of those cooldowns to come back in. Nobody's securing any kills yet, though.
Yeah, Seers
go.
Seers with quite an aggressive composition. October gets the first dash reset on that Genji. It's very crucial. Get those dash resets. Every time you get a kill, that ability resets. A nice pick onto Bobby means Falcons have to be really careful now. They don't have that big shield to hide behind. A crucial res comes through, but Fusion falls.
Yeah, but having Bright on side to bring Bobber back into the fight is huge because it means that they have the main tank advantage, and that is exactly what you want. But Seers take early possession of the point, and it means that this is now their fight to control. They get to pick when and where this engagement happens, and I like this. Slim coming from an off angle, everyone else from Falcons up on top looking to try and get some angles in, having some of that denied, and that's paying dividends already with Cardinal falling very early in the fight. In fact, we've not had a complete reset here, and look at this, Oliver was already able to generate, there we go, that's the reset I was looking for. Seers finally knocking Falcons completely out of the race. We're going to have to see them come back and try that again.
Yep, a nice, easy 3K from Slim, and now we're going to see Cardinal moving off to McCree onto a hunter of his own, try and contest the range of this Shamada brother counterpart. We're going to see Legatif has this nano boost ready, looking for the nano blade this next fight for the Seers on this defense.
Yeah, you love to see it, and you don't see it that often, well, you certainly haven't seen it that often in recent, slightly more tank-focused compositions, so we might see it pay real dividends here. Only 40% right, there it is, there we go. October has the blade, yeah, pops it, but we actually haven't seen the nano boost come out on top of it. Nano boost being held in reserve. The Sandberry coming out has mitigated a lot of that, but they do eventually find Bright with that kill, but a quick 2 coming out from Bobber, but it's not going to be enough. This is a real tradey fight. People coming back and forth the entire time. Olafur finally taken out of the fight, and it is going to be Seers maintaining control of the point. They did give up a quick 7%, but 7% probably not an amount you're worried about at this point in the fight.
Interesting decision from the Seers to invest that Dragon Blade without the nano boost. It's the combo we tend to go for because it means you can burst through these high-foul targets, even through the sound barrier we saw coming out from Olafaru. Means they do need to invest the Graviton Surge at the end. They don't have that to combo with maybe a Dragon Strike coming online for Slim, but they've still got a couple tools to work with. Look for Quantex in particular with this Earth Shatter.
Yeah, but Fusion nowhere near that ultimate just yet. Cardinal not having their ultimate online. Oh, what a pick! Sensei Sharp in over the top of that shield, and here comes Bob, everybody. Bob on the field, able to do so much zoning, keep everybody out of the way, and that shatter comes in. It's not big enough to really flip the point, though. It came directly into the shield. Nice use of Bubble there, keeping the ball. Bobby Bird kept alive, and then sadly taken out by the opposite number from Quantec, and they do manage to flip that in the confusion, but it's not going to be enough as we see more and more Falcons fall in the fight. Seers just in cleanup mode, sweeping what's left of Falcons off the point.
Crucial nano boost coming in from Legadif there, keeping his main tank alive. And that's perfect, because it means when the charge comes back through from Quantex, it takes Bobby down low enough that just a couple swings able to finish him off, start turning that fight around. That looked really good for a moment there for Falcons. Good work from Seers, turning that fight around. Now, moving on to Village here. This is a map where we generally see compositions similar to what we see on Village. However, maybe Modern Team might want to opt for a Wrecking Ball composition here, throw out the multiple DPS picks. There's a lot of room to work around there.
The never truer word spoken from someone that's a clear and obvious fan of the Chengdu Hunters. Always keen to see that Wrecking Ball out on the field. Looks like neither team showing that just yet. Obviously, 8 seconds left to go.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is very similar to what we saw in the previous round.
Yeah, Bright moving off the Mercy onto the Moira, maybe a little bit more mobility, able to defend themselves a little bit better with that biotic grasp. Not a fan of how much they were maybe struggling to survive there. Also seeing Cardinal moving onto the Tracer, going to put a little bit more pressure onto Legadif in the back.
Yeah, it's surprising me to see that we've had Seers take such an early possession of the point compared to Falcons, because they both had this Lucio pick on board. Maybe they just wanted to take a little bit more of a slow and steady approach in. Cardinal pressuring the Sombra, falls low, able to just translocate out. And meanwhile, back on the point, trades are coming in. Sensei Shark doing a lot of work, getting a kill with the Dynamite and just with the main. Ooh, Cardinal falling very, very low. They were moving over. Watching Sensei Shark just sat in the back line, trying to rein in some of that damage. But this passive style of play, where they're just sort of allowing Seers to do what they want, is that really what they can afford to do right now?
I mean, when you lose Bobby Bear so early, like at the start of that fight, you can sit in the back and get all the picks you want, but you don't have that point precedence. You can't move up and contest the Seers. We're seeing Quantex, 67% to the Surf Shatter. A nice biotic grenade comes through from Legadif.
Yeah, absolutely huge, and it has allowed them to get a bit of an early pick there, sending Bright out of the fight. Quantex with the follow. That's no healers on board for Falcons. You really want to see the reset coming out now.
Yeah, Seers with a strong fight win, only needing to invest a Pulse Bomb as well. It's allowing October, Legadif, Quantex start building up to these crucial fight-winning ultimates, and it's a nice, just a little bit of cleanup. Take fusions out, let that spawn timer go on a little bit longer, and now we're going to see Falcons switching things up. Sensei moving off the Ashe. Not doing a bad job on the Ashe,
no, not at
but
all.
pulling out this McCree with that flashbang going to be so crucial against this double flanker attack we're seeing from the Seers. October and Slim are constantly in the backline. You need that crowd control ability to try and shut them down.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and I want to see some more aggression from Falcons. I want to see them getting in and actually taking this fight to Seers, because so far in this map, they've just sat back and let Seers maintain control point. There we go, Sensei Shark finds the kill onto Slim, and that has to be the opening. You've got to now get in and capitalize on having that damage taken out. A cheeky flank shatter coming in around the back. Charge not quite able to connect, but Sensei Shark taking October down in the meantime. But trading back and forth when all the particle effects clear. Who is going to be left standing on the point? Bright managing to get a kill with one of those floating orbs of death. You maybe don't want to see quite so much in this team composition. Not able to use any of those abilities to get in and flip the point. Graviton Surge coming out at the end, and that is going to be cleanup. If they're quick, Falcons have one more bite at this cherry, but honestly, it's a very difficult task.
Yeah, Olafaro crucial with that Lucio. Going to speed everyone back to the point and does have the soundbite for contest here. In fact, both support modes online for the Falcons need to be crucial to keep one of the supports out of the range of October's EMP. Olafaro survived, but he doubles down.
Yeah,
and the Pulse Bomb!
Not going to be good enough. Big EMP at the end there. Sadly, Falcons just not quite quick enough to capitalize and get in there, which is a shame because they had tools to work with.
Absolutely. A little bit unfortunate for the Falcons, not able to play the same aggressive play we were seeing from the Seers. Quantex on that Reinhardt just kind of having his way.
Yeah, we're just going to see this play of the game coming up at the end from Jark, falling very, very low with the health there. Graviton Surge just to help clear things up at the end there. Beautiful play.
Yeah, great work on that Zaya. Had some crucial Graviton Surges, not really as an initiation tool, but just at the end, clean up the fights.
Yeah.
When it was getting a little bit dicey, when Sensei Shark was getting those crucial picks, we saw just invest that Graviton Surge, because you know you're going to build it up pretty quickly anyway, gets that last couple of stragglers and prevents them turning the fight around.
Yeah, and you know, it's not the 3-tank, 3-support combo that you're used to seeing, but still having that Zarya in there to do a lot of the heavy lifting is incredibly powerful still, especially combined with a competent Reinhardt. Are seeing this Dragon Blade coming out from October on the replay, not able to get a lot of kills, but certainly doing a lot of bodying, just allowing the rest of the team to come in and follow up on the damage from the dash resets and from the Dragon Blade.
I also like the way the Seers are playing around Legadiv's biotic grenade grenades as a win condition. You get in that anti-healing, means even though Falcons are running this Mercy Lucio and then Moira Lucio setup, where you have a lot of healing available, once that biodynamic grenade comes through, that's denied. There's a couple purple, easy targets for the Seers to finish up on.
Yeah, and of course, it's interesting that we have both teams running the Lucio, but it seems like only one team is using that particularly to take early advantage and early space on the point. We saw Falcons on that last map have the Lucio, but they just held back where Seers took it. In fact, Ghost Dragon leading the charge, getting onto the point first and peppering in a few shots to build a bit of early ult charge. So I think maybe one of the things we're missing from Falcons here is just aggression in general.
Falcons are definitely playing a much more reserved playstyle, playing around Sensei Shark, allowing him to get a couple picks, which he is. There's pretty much every fight here, Sensei Shark, whether on the McCree, on the Ashe, is getting 2 or 3 picks every single fight. It's just not enough. Because they're playing so reserved and so passive, Quantex and Jark, those tanks are just having their way, aggressing onto Bobby Bear and Fusion, shutting them down. I think Quantex at times was lapping Bobby Bear in Earth Shadow Charge. You can't have that. You can't have your Reinhardt playing that passive and just getting run over.
Yeah, we are seeing that, unfortunately, just that last tragic moment with the Reinhardt not being able to get onto point quickly enough to recontest. But we are... I mean, if you've heard me cast before, and Bowers, I know you've heard me cast before.
Fortunately.
Thank you. I don't think you can necessarily judge the worth of a team just on their performance on the control map.
Absolutely. Control is one of the more varied maps we see in terms of win rate. It's very dependent on who wins that initial fight, and when you're an aggressive team like the Seers, who can get that point presence early, secure that first cap, it's very hard for the Falcons to then come in and turn that around. When we go to these escort, these payload maps, where it's a little bit more standard, where it's not as dependent on getting that initiation, getting that first fight win, maybe we can see the Falcons starting to come back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, of course, going to be moving over onto our hybrid map now. We're going to be going over to Ican Vault, so personal favorite map of mine. And I like, Ican Vault is one of these maps where I think you can run a lot of very viable tank setups. You can, if you're competent and you're diligent, you can run an Orisa bunker composition here. You can run the classic Ryan's area. And we have seen people running the Wrecking Ball as well.
Absolutely, particularly on this first point offense, we do see some teams coming with that Wrecking Ball, pulling out 3-4 DPS picks. The Farah in particular, I've already spoken about it as a personal favorite DPS. See if we can get that coming out on the first point of Ican Vault, playing around that large bell tower in the middle. We do see teams playing a lot more traditional comps as well here, though. Like you say, you can run a lot of different compositions here. The typical Ryan Zaya, just throwing the McCree, perfect for Sensei Shark, get a nice couple picks and initiate off the back of that. This could be a perfect map for Falcons.
It is, but from what I know about our players, I don't know that we have anybody that is in particular a Farah specialist. Yes, we have a couple of top 500 DPS players that doubtless have a pretty good Farah in their pocket, but when you are at the grand finals, do you want to be running stuff that is not your #1 best hero pick, really?
Sometimes you just have to go with comfort picks. Meta be damned.
Yeah.
The meta exists for a reason. It is the strongest set of heroes, but we know these teams already like to run what they're used to. They don't like the free meta. They like to run these 2-2 compositions, let their DPS players flourish, and when you're playing around those DPS players, it does often play around those comfort picks. What are you most comfortable on? If you've got someone who's a superstar on Genji, you play a lot of dive, you play those Genji comps. In October, even in the Ryan Zaya composition, looked really good on that Genji. Someone else, another hero I want to highlight from October, it's actually that Sombra, particularly on the first point here on Ican Vault, playing around the health packs in that cabin at the back of the point. Sombra is definitely a pick we could see, especially on defense.
Yeah, and I don't know, my heart always sinks when I see that the enemy team has a Sombra, because if you know how to capitalize on an EMP, if you can communicate to your team like the EMP is coming out, they're super vulnerable, let's gank them, then that is just a one team, it's basically a free team fight.
Yeah, it makes life much harder for the opposing supports. You need to keep at least one of them with a defensive vault, if possible, out of the range of the EMP, so you don't have your Zenyatta become a 50 HP free kill. You don't have your Lucio lose both his speed boost and his ambient healing. You don't have your Moira losing her orbs. And again, losing the ultimates as well, not being able to invest that Transcendence, that sound barrier to counteract the EMP, or even worse, maybe investing the sound barrier too early and having it immediately eliminated. Sombra makes life hell for support sometimes, so it's going to be very crucial for the supports if that Sombra pick does come out to play a lot not necessarily more passive, but a lot more carefully with their positioning.
Yeah, and this is the bit of Overwatch that I absolutely love to think about, because at this point, before we are anywhere near touching a mouse or a keyboard or in the mental game, we're thinking about, okay, so we know they ran a Sombra last time, so we need to run a Zenyatta this time and keep him right in the back so he'll still do damage and still keep in the way. But then, of course, we can't leave him unguarded, because then we've got Sombra coming into the back to hack him, and then, of course, he dies and we don't have it when the EMP comes through. So you've got to be thinking about all of these different axes that you've got to be working on.
You can always just commit to the Moira Lucio composition like we saw at the end there. Moira, with her Biotic Grasp, is actually really good at cancelling hack. Because you don't need to aim the ability as much as a lot of other abilities, it's very easy to hit that Sombra, cancel the hack animation, prevent that hack coming through onto your tanks or your support. So Moira, definitely a good pick against the Sombra in that regard.
Yeah, but then, of course, we've got, well, let's think of maybe the strongest hero in the game, and has been for a very long time, D.Va, that you often have in that role explicitly to be the Sombra check. You are there to just pepper that gun that you never have to reload, getting in all the time, making it so hard for the Sombra to do her job. So, you know, Sombra can be very oppressive, but there are definitely ways to play around her.
Yeah, we are yet to see a D.Va, of course, but you're right. Kind of a jack-of-all-trades character, has the mobility from those boosters to chase down a Sombra, for example, has the defense matrix to protect a hack target, has their own fusion cannons and micro-missiles for a lot of burst damage. There's a lot of things the D.Va can do, so it's going to be interesting to see if we do see a D.Va coming out on Ican Vault, particularly on the second point, actually, to contest some of that high ground setup. Yeah,
and another character that we've not seen yet, Ican Vault is maybe not unique, but one of these maps where it's incredibly common to swap your tank lineup in between stages. So the fact that we've not yet seen a Winston from either of these players, you know, maybe that's going to be a shortcoming that can be taken advantage of.
To be fair, Nepal Shrine, Nepal Village, not necessarily maps we typically think of as dive maps where we would see that Winston D.Va, typically more Reinhardt favored maps, so it's not too surprising to me that we haven't seen those picks come out yet. On Ican Vault here, particularly on that second point where you have the castle setup, where it's so crucial to contest at high ground sometimes, maybe that's somewhere where we will see that Winston D.Va come out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a Winston player. You know, I just like to see Winston, really, so show me some Winston and I'll be happy. Gorilla, so good they named him twice. Greatest of the great apes.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to see the Winston yet, but early indications on this defense are seeing Bobby Bear coming out on that Orisa. So a change up on main tank. You actually alluded to the Orisa earlier. And Sensei Shark, my new favorite player, pulling out that Roadhog. We're going to see a bunker set up on the defense from the Falcons.
It's more than that. It's the super bunker. As, of course, Baptiste is now live in competitive play and in tournaments, so going to make it very difficult to burst unless you know explicitly to focus down the Infinity.
Yeah, the introduction of this new hero, Baptiste, has been a huge boon for these bunker compositions. Being able to throw down that immortality field. He has his own area of effect healing as well, being able to throw down both the healing and the damage from that defensive setup. That's why we're seeing teams running a lot more of these bunker compositions on this recent patch. Going to be interesting though to see Seers running their own offensive Torbjorn.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a troll pick just to make us talk about the benefits of running an attack Torb, but no, October actually coming out on there. Jark taking a lot of damage, very quickly burned through that bubble. October going around with Slim for
Torb's
a
on the flank. Torb's on the flank.
Finds Bright, comes in with the overcharge coming in as well, but sadly not able to do enough there. Sensei Shark taking Slim in out of the fight. It's worth noting, whilst this all has been going on, Quantex has got a Words Chatter ready to go, but really at this point, you're one player down for Seers. Are we going to see them continue to run this Torb? I'd be very surprised.
Oglatharu had a crucial immortality field coming through there to save Bright's life, prevent the Torbjorn getting that early pick. Now going to see a change up, a Slim moving off the Reaper onto this Farah. Very strong pick against these bunker compositions, able to break down the shield from long range, especially with those knockback changes we were talking about earlier, throwing a concussion blast to displace once the shield has gone down. That's exactly what we see there, but he falls!
Yeah, Cardinal was playing Farah peekaboo, but sadly not quite good enough, and we've got, Earth Shatter coming through with the follow-up on the Fire Strike, taking Olafu out of the fight. Jark surprisingly finding that Valkyrie Mercy. Bright coming down out of the fight. October 60% of the way to that ult charge. They're not going to need to use it in that fight. Seers already moving over. Quantex going to be coming back out on a Winston. They know they've got this point, and look at that Jark with the high energy, with the Graviton Surge, ready to go in this next fight.
And if there's one thing we've come to expect from Quantex so far, it's those huge shatters. There's no shield online from the Falcons because Bobby Bear can't deploy their own Orisa shield. The Earth Shatter comes through uncontested, and it's a nice, easy cleanup for the Seers. Still running this May-Baptiste combination on offense, not something we see too often, but October is making work. Coming up on that Blizzard here, Slim falls to Cardinal, moving on to that McCree to contest the Pharah.
Yeah, directly countering that Pharah. Slim. Don't know if they're going to want to change off with 80% of that ultimate already there to go, but a Graviton Surge on the field. Jark with the high energy, not able to find any kills, thanks in part to the Infinity Shield that was coming up. Seers are going to be taking Falcons out of the fight. They can just start to push forward here. Turbocharger on the field and ready to go, but we've got a counter boost coming in the form of that Baptiste ultimate. Is anything going to come out of it? No, sadly, Falcons in a full-on rout as Seers used his aggression to get in over the top. This may be the thing that changes it. The deep bomb coming in, but it goes wide and it lands on top of the castle. Nothing doing. That is unfortunate. Arfu gets frozen.
So we're seeing Bright deploying that Valkyrie, just keeping everyone alive. October, in the midst of things, throwing down a May wall, trying to displace the team. The Immortality Field online for both teams right now. Gotta have that target priority. Negative by Immortality Field, that comes down. Here's the Amplification Matrix for that little bit of extra damage for the Seers.
Yeah, but of course, look, they're playing around payload, so that Amplification Matrix actually not doing an awful lot. Sound Barrier just to pile in the aggression. They're going to come running in at the back. There's a boot kill, taking Cardinal out of the fight. Down goes the rest of Falcons as Seers finally break this defensive hold and continue their steamroller over to the end of point B.
Great work from the Seers. Still have 2 Sank ultimates online right now as well. Jark in particular with this Graviton Surge is going to be crucial. And oh, poor Fusion left alone in Baby Diva form. Unable to contest the cart means Falcons can't get there. They're not comfortable contesting the 5v6 last minute. And a nice little finish off, finally showing mercy to Fusions. 4.5 minutes on a time bank for Seers. Moving into this third point, the May Wall comes through to split them up, but there's the Immortality Field.
Yeah, Cardinal does have the High Noon ready to go, but there are a lot of options online that stop this getting any value at all. Right into that Immortality Field, mean nothing coming out of that. A lot of damage coming in, but it's not going to be enough. Seers are not giving Falcons a second here to regroup.
Yeah, and it's interesting target priority as well. Every time Olaf Farmoon deploys that Immortality Field, it's immediately gone. Seers know to focus it down. However, whenever Legacy invests one of his own, it gets value. Fusion, DMEX can't contest the cart, and it's just staggers coming out right now. Bobby Bear trying to contest the cart for as long as he can. Olaf Farmoon keeping everyone alive. Sensei Shock does find a kill, but it might be too little too late.
Yeah, it's just not going to be enough. We've said it again. Seers are not giving Falcons a second, a millisecond, a microsecond to actually get in together and form a halfway decent T-Foe. So this is just a stall action, and it is not going to be enough. October closing that out with the Blizzard just for good measure.
And it is definitely interesting that they managed to make that May on offense work for so long. Some crucial walls coming through just to split the tank line from the Falcons. Get some nice picks onto Bobby Bear, split the Reinhardt away from this team, forced him to play passive because he doesn't have that backup, doesn't have that healing, and it puts so much pressure on that opposing tank line that still the Falcons struggling to find their footing.
Yeah, and 3 minutes 35 seconds is a big old time bank for a map like Ican Vault.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I've seen better. 3 minutes 35. You guys should be very proud of yourselves having a time bank like that ready to go. Falcons, we've maybe seen them coming off the worst in a lot of these exchanges. Let's see if this is their time to shine.
It's definitely interesting that Seers are making these unconventional compositions work. Not just running the May on offense there, but trying the Torby on offense as well initially. That one didn't work out.
Sadly.
For the second point of Ican Vault, they were running that Winston-Zaya tank combo. Not something you see too often because you don't have the Diva who can follow with the Winston. You can give him a projected bubble from the Zaya, so he's got a little bit of damage mitigation as he initially dives in.
It's not the greatest tank synergy.
Yeah, it's not the greatest tank synergy. So kudos to them for making that work. Now on this defensive setup, we're going to see Slim pulling out that Reaper again.
Yeah, and of course we've got October sticking with the May, and unless you are diligent and focused enough to take down the May, she can shut down a lot of offensive pushes.
Yeah, so that's why we're going to see, it's actually a pretty good DPS duo, I think, here from the Falcons, who counteract the May Reaper combo we're seeing. You can play at range with Cardinal on that Hanzo, get some nice picks. The May and the Reaper can't contest you as well, and then Fusion getting in the back line, maybe get a couple crucial hacks.
Yeah, I'd love to know where Fusions is going at the minute as the rest of the team come piling up through. There we go. Thank you very much, producer. Fusion on the side, not quite able to get the hack off, for drawing a little bit of attention, hacking the smaller health pack there, going invis again, but in the meantime, Slim gets a cheeky 2, and that was a beautiful translocator out of the way of that charging Reinhardt, but it's still not going to be enough. Very little ult charge on board for Falcons on the back of that push.
Slim playing nice and sneaky on that Reaper picking the backline, finds 2 picks, including taking down that Zenyatta, which was crucial before the Falcons even know what was happening. Now we're going to see a change up. Bright moving off to Mercy onto this Ana, try and play around those nades, maybe get a couple sleeps in.
Yeah, so Falcons did actually have an opportunity there. Slim was out of the fight, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. So now Seers back up to full strength. Legadif at 92% of the way to having that amplification matrix. It's going to make that so hard to push into this choke. And
Slim
there
the
it is on the field. Slim in the backline with the Reaper, piling in the damage, not able to, well, there we go. I'm going to say he can't find the kills, and he takes Bobby Burr out of the fight. And that's your main tank down. Really, Falcons need to come back and reset. They have got one ultimate online. They're not far off getting Sensei Shark's Graviton Surge. This could be their win condition.
Well, this quite aggressive defense from the Seers means that Fusion on the Sombra isn't really able to sneak into the backline to get those tags. He has to play in the front line, trying to get that shield break in so he can find that pathing into the back. Right, coming up on that Nunabit.
Oh! That's a defensive ult if ever I've seen one. Slim with the triple coming in on the back of that Death Blossom, completely cancelling out Sensei Shard's Graviton. That was huge.
The best defensive ult is a good offensive ult.
Yeah, wow, team kill. And we come out of that with Jark still having the Graviton Surge. We've got the Earth Shadow. Seers have so much to play with here.
There is a little bit of a window here right now. Fusion might be able to throw that down to CMP before Ghost Dragon builds up to that sound barrier. Falcons, you need to act quickly. Your time is now. Slim on this flank forces out the Shadow Step already, but there's not going to be the follow-up there. Fusion trying to invest it. Here's the Dragon.
It's big. It finds 2. It finds the main tank, and it finds Lucia. But unfortunately, once again, there is a defensive, offensive. Or October throws that Blizzard in, and Falcons just can't find anything.
Exactly. Fusion now going to be moving over onto the Junkrat for that little bit more shield span. They want to put a lot more pressure onto Quantex. Cardinal was briefly looking at the Genji, now going to be opting for the McCree, so still playing the slow style we're used to from the Falcons, trying to get those picks in, see if they can put a little bit of pressure onto Slim and October, who are just having their way.
Yeah, but Legadith is building his ultimates so incredibly quickly, and look how often they're appearing in that kill feed as the assist icon there. That's 3 in that last one. And, you know, Falcons, they've got a minute left. They do have some tools to play with, but Quantex pushing right the way for the rest of the team. Seers are just not giving Falcons any chance here.
And it feels like Slim, with his backline antics, is starting to get into the head of the backline for the Falcons. Bobby Bear seems constantly disjointed from the backline, falling early at the start of these fights where he doesn't have those supports ready to do up. Slim, he's on the flank again.
Yeah, he knows.
Legadif does fall.
Yeah, that's big. That is going to be a lot of healing offline, but Slim in the backline finds a healer, takes down the Zen. I'm surprised we didn't see the trance coming out there. Does get flashbang. Coming down, Sensei Shark gets a quick 1-2 punch there. This is it. This is go time for Falcons. Shatter comes out, not going to find anything from it. Neither does the counter Shatter. Quantex and Bobby Bear both out of the fight, and it looks like Falcons may finally have some progress on this point.
And the second wind comes through for the Falcons. A crucial flashbang from Cardinal. That's why you swap to the McCree, so you can shut down Slim when he's on those backline antics. And now a couple ultimates coming line. Bobby Bear does invest the Earth Shatter. Slim.
Gee, Slim, what are we going to see from you here? Any guesses?
You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, in your backline with Death Blossom. That's how the saying goes.
That's how my mother taught it to me. And we have got Quantex moving over onto the Winston here, ready to take advantage of some of that high ground. Slim still being very, very patient. Here we go. Death Blossom into the back line. Finds 2. Unfortunately, it does also trigger that defensive ult. And Fusion throws the Riptire in as well. But do you know what? Once the particle effects have cleared, that actually looks pretty good for Falcons. They come out well in that exchange.
Ghost Dragon needs to watch his feet as well. That total mayhem from Fusion, dropping those grenades, does take out Lucio, and Falcons still edging this forward. You're going to see October moving off to May, onto this Tracer now, trying to contest the backline, already 2/3 of the way to the Pulse Bomb, and Slim moving onto the Soldier with his damage buffs, able to shred through these tanks.
Yeah, Jock with the Graviton Surge, however, coming in on the back of that with the 50% charge. Not able to find too much, but October in the backline. Slim moving over onto the Soldier, and that is just Seers in the left-hand side of that kill feed, dominating that team fight. 1 minute, 20 seconds left for Falcons to go. They've got 3 ults. Is that going to be enough?
It depends what Sensei Shark can catch with this Graviton Surge.
The big stick. Goodbye, cowboy.
Seers are showing no respect right now. If it's not Slim, it's October. Constantly going on his flanks, constantly getting in the back line, and the Falcons are still not able to shut them down.
No, and Ghost Dragon just staying back there to help. Fairy Jark now moving over onto the Diva, back into there, and Cardinal knows that October is out for their blood, and they know that they are the best counter on this team. Flashbang not able to find anything. Oh, so close to getting the stick there. October is in and out of this, slippery as an eel, quick as a fish, not able to be pinned down.
And this is what I was looking forward to from the Seers. This Tracer gameplay that we don't often see too often in the meta. Such a high skill cap hero, October just wreaking havoc right now. Amplification Matrix come through from the Seers, but the Falcons just walk through it.
Yeah, of course, one easy way to counter that is just walk right the way through it. Big fire strike coming out from Bobby Bell, opening up a lot of space. Cardinal not able to get anything with the high noon, but just coming in with a regular old right click. Quantex trying to keep this alive, get them into overtime with the Primal Rage, but it's not going to be enough as the Falcons once again come out on top of that fight. They are in overtime now. This is desperate straits for Falcons.
Yeah, must-win situation now for the Falcons, and they don't really have too much to work with in this fight. Fusion needs to build up to this Riptide as quickly as he can. 80% of the way there, October!
Are we going to get that? Oh, nearly over the side. The stick comes through. Of course, it finds a big meaty tank. No longer the tank destroying. Oh, it once was Ghost Dragon sending in the sound barrier. Fusions finally has this Riptide, but it needs to be huge. It's not going to be enough Jark there to take it out of the fight as the overtime wick ticks down. A valiant last push from Falcons, but just not quite enough.
Unfortunate for the Falcons. They did have some great moments there. Bobby Bear starting to step up a little bit more on that Reinhardt, getting some nice Earth Shatters. That crucial fire strike as well over the bridge to let them continue. But it all came down to this early defense from the Seers, enabled by Slim just running wild in the backline.
Yeah, if you leave a Reaper uncontested like this, you are going to have the worst of birthdays, honestly.
Yeah, and Falcons, to their credit, were attempting to shut down Slim. We saw a lot of DPS switches coming through. It was the McCree in the end that did work with that flashbang, being able to shut him down immediately and allowing them to move in after, but taking a little bit too long to find those answers.
Yeah, and it feels like a lot of the DPS threats coming out from Seers are just being given too much free reign. You know, Slim able to use those Death Blossoms to get a multi-kill several times. October coming out with the Tracer, just constantly harassing people. We are going to move over and have a look at some of these key replays here. We're on board with Sensor Shark. High charge with the Graviton Surge coming in. Pops a big Graviton Surge. Slim with the big combo, taking 3 out of the fight. Jark not to be left out of that. Gets the kill onto the opposite number of Sensor Shark. And Seers just absolutely ripping through Falcons in that defense.
Yeah, just a simple change I'd like to see the Falcons make. Check your corners. Check your flank routes. Because Slim was setting up in pretty similar positions every single fight. Just hiding in those buildings, on those stairs, in the back, and then quickly jumping in, throwing down those Hellfire Shotguns, throwing down that Death Blossom. It's just small adjustments that the Falcons need to make that are starting to add up in a lot of these team fights.
Yeah, of course, Reaper has had a little bit of a buff in the most recent patch. It's easier for him to get in and out of the fights. And honestly, I think that's a lot of what we're seeing here. Slim is able to just get in, do the damage, get out again. Obviously getting punished in that particular replay there, but still doing enough to break that offense.
Slim did actually get a little bit greedy there, jumping in and out of the Wraithform quickly to get that little bit of survivability, the reload as well, but it means there was no escape when the flashbang came through. Slim, another 2k there. Fusion and Bobby are starting to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, really, you could have picked any number of those Death Blossoms to be played the game for Slim there. He got, I think, 3 in that entire game.
So many like blossom. It's like a flower bed of death, destruction,
I think
and
that's
just
why it's
general
got blossom in the name, Bells. I could be wrong about that.
No, that's the joke, where it's a lot of blossoms, like a flower bed.
Okay. That's really a lot more peaceful imagery than I was expecting from the world's biggest edgelord and his Hellfire Shotguns. Cardinal?
We're all soft on the inside.
We are.
At least I am, Phil.
But I like this focus from Cardinal. They realise how big a threat that Immortality Field was. Not able to get anything out of the Deadeye, but still really good zoning.
That's the adjustment we weren't really seeing from the Falcons on their defense, where we were seeing Legadif constantly getting a lot of value out of that Immortality Field, keeping 1 or 2 people alive before it got shut down. In kind of countering that, we sort of see us constantly shutting that Immortality Field whenever it came through. There was no value there for the Falcons on that Baptiste pick.
Yeah, if you treat that Immortality Field as like the 7th player on the team that you have to focus down first. Because I mean, it's got what, 100 HP. That's not that far away from a Tracer. So you know, it's the same level of focus you've got to give it.
Also, much easier to hit than a Tracer. The immortality field, of course, unable to blink or recall.
No.
Or shoot you.
No, it's good because it's already pretty powerful. I think if it was able to also one-clip you as well, that would maybe be just a step too far. And I wouldn't. There are lots of things I wouldn't put Pat Blizzard, but making it a turret as well as an immortality field may be a step too far for Jeff Camp.
What you're saying is not a turret, but give immortality field a pulse bomb.
Give immortality field a pulse bomb. Let immortality wall ride. Of course, we are moving over onto our next map. We're going to be going over to a 2CP map, everybody's favorite. We're going over to Volskaia Industries.
Yeah. Volskaia, one of the, I'd say it's one of the more iconic maps actually.
Yeah.
When I think of it, I think of purple, and purple's one of my favorite colors, so I'm not complaining.
No.
So, speaking of purple, Sombra, one of the strongest picks we do see on Volskaia. We've seen October pull it out a couple times to varying success. We'll have to see if they can get something going on the defensive setup here.
Yeah, but of course the defensive setup here is very similar in terms of the size of the choke and the nature of the approach to the choke as what we just saw on Ican Vault.
Absolutely.
So we may see a very similar hold coming out here.
Yeah. October isn't going to be taking up the Sombra yet on the defense, opting for that quite aggressive Genji. However, the Wrecking Ball is real.
The Wrecking Ball is here. He's here to take names and pile drive your squishies.
Yeah, it does interest me that they're going to be taking the McCree with this Wrecking Ball composition. Typically, when you run these DPS comps, you want a lot of mobility. If you want that hit scan presence, I would opt for the Soldier, even the Ashe with a coach gun, a little bit more mobility than what we see from McCree.
They do have the Lucio with them, so they are able to pile in with that speed boost and get the McCree into reach.
Going to be very crucial for Olafau to stick with Cardinal, give him that mobility, with that speed boost to stay out of harm's way, especially with October on the Strays are going to be trying to contest that backline.
Ooh, there we go. Early pick Sensei Shark taking Legadith out of the fight. So much healing off board, and here comes the Chaos, the Rolling Rodent getting in there, displacing the Reinhardt. Quantex falls incredibly quickly. Focus swaps over to Jark. This is a really, really dominant push, honestly. Pile Driver coming in, not able to find anything. Jark takes Cardinal out of the fight, but there are so many DPS threats. Sensei Shark coming in there, hugely focused on taking Slim out of the fight. Slim able to just run and run rings around that Pharah, though, falling very, very low, getting a lot of healing right there, keeping their Pharah in the fight. This is looking very good for Falcons.
Yeah, Sensei Shark with the beautiful early pick onto Legadith. The Unmortality field can't be used from the spawn, obviously. Being able to get some hacks onto the tanks from Fusion as well. Falcons, they actually win that so cleanly that they don't really have any ultimates coming into this fight. We're going to see Sensei Shark starting to build up on the barrage, but now Slim is on the McCree with that Peacekeeper, going to be trying to shut down the Pharah.
Yeah, Fusion not that far away from getting that EMP. The EMP barrage combo can be absolutely huge, but they've got to have the patience to wait for it. Fusion falling down. October there with the melee kill. The barrage comes out, it finds Legadith, but it's not going to be enough as Slim takes Sensei Shark out of the fight in that exchange. And really, with the respawn so heavily in favor of the Seers, that is going to be it for this offensive push from Falcons.
Yep, Fusion is going to be staying on the Sombra, committing to the AMP despite losing the Sombra duel. Not something we often see. Normally think of the Tracer duel there instead of the Sombra duel, but October gets the best of his counterpart. And Fusion actually hacked again, shut down by Slim. That's going to be the Falcons heading back to spawn immediately again.
And we've got swaps though.
Yeah, still committing to this DPS lineup. Going to be seeing Sensei Shark moving over to the McCree. Cardinal kind of trying to make up his mind. First the Widowmaker, then the Tracer, now the Genji. A little bit of a spicy pick, channeling his inner Jinmu. One of my favorite players. It's going to be interesting to see how we can get into this backline, try and get onto Slim, put a lot of pressure in there, but it's going to be crucial that, of course, they have to shut down Legadith's immortality field.
And they've also got to get Ghost Dragon. Ghost Dragon has to be in this EMP,
Absolutely.
or it will all be for nothing. Fusion looking there to get a little bit of damage before the EMP comes out. Still not opting to use it. Cardinal gets the pick, taking Quantex out of the fight. This is looking very good for Falcons. They've got ultimates to play with. This is their time to shine. Bobby needs to get these mines in a position to start doing some damage. I like that nice attempt at the boot there. Oh, just able to get it. Look at the sliver of health that Ghost Dragon had when they actually managed to connect with that ultimate. But it is kills coming out in favor of Falcons here. They just need to buy a little bit more presence on the point. There's the amplification field, but mines coming in, and the hack comes out onto Legadith as well. Ghost Dragon finds a kill at the end there, and we've still got October doing October things in the back, getting the hacks left, right, and center, meaning that we only got 40% of that point in that last attack.
Yeah, Fusion EMP, it was nice, but not quite as big as they like. Did allow that sound barrier to come through on the recontest. And even though they do get a tick, they weren't trading picks efficiently enough. It lets the Seers come back in and recontest. Actually going to see Slim moving off to McCree onto the Junkrat pick here. Not something we typically see, maybe trying to get value out of his trap. Shut down the Sombra and the Genji here, but Cardinal does have this Dragon Blade online.
Yeah, October with an EMP, that's the button you want to press to win any or all team fights if you put it in the right position. Oh, Hack comes in just as Cardinal was getting ready to pop that Dragon Blade, and they're going to back out. I think a very good disengage coming there from Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons do invest in Valkyrie. There's going to be a lot of healing from Bright, lacking going into this next fight. And Sensei Shark does get hacked, so Falcons just having to sit back a little bit more. Seers buying even more time, and Slim's actually building up quite quickly to this Riptire.
Yeah, but we've got Cardinal here on the high ground, I think looking for an opportunity, and there we go. The Dragon Blade comes out, but he gets hacked and taken out by that self-destructing Diva Mech. Quantex coming in there, swinging those gorilla arms around, takes Sensei Shark out of the fight. There's going to be another hold for Seers here in Volskaia.
Yeah, there's a reason why nowadays we fight with bombs, not swords. Jark showing it just there with a crucial self-destruct, only gets one pick, but shutting down Cardinal with that Dragon Blade was exactly the pick they need. Falcons making some more changes, still committing to this DPS lineup, not wanting to opt for the dive or the Ryan Zaya here. Going to be pulling out Sensei Shark on that Farah, which was working really well initially. Now Slim has moved off to McCree, you're going to get a little bit more value from that Farah, and Cardinal going to be trying to pull out the Reba here to shut down Quantex.
Big EMP comes in and finds 4, but Slim has the Riptide. The Riptide coming in, finds Sensei Shark and Bright, sending them right out of the fight. And this is good because they're very close to getting the EMP. That tire is a nice way to say, no team fight for you. EMP is going to be another one. Falcons once more out of this team fight, but they do have another 3 minutes, so they can afford to just, you know, take a breath, build some automates to come back again.
One of the weaknesses of running the Farah here, it is a little bit more enclosed than the wide open first point. You've got to go through that doorway or one of the windows to the side to actually contest a point, and it was perfect from Slim, getting that Riptire, sneaking up the walls, gets 2 kills onto the pharmacy to shut down that push. And now Falcons, despite having a huge almost 7-minute time bank coming into the second point initially, it's come down to just 2.5 minutes. They've got a couple ultimates online, but it's a crucial EMP here for October.
Yeah, and also we're 94% of the way to getting another bomb. So that EMP bomb combo is absolutely huge. They're not going to opt for it. 6 people, the EMP they heard around the world. No kills coming on the back of it. We've got a D-Mech. That is all that's going to be coming out of that. Slim and Jark starting to get the kills they needed, and we have had the minefield committed into the fight. Not entirely sure why that was thrown into the lost fight, but we are where we are.
Well, we've also seen Fusion moving off a DPS pick onto the Diva, so I think Bobby Bear is going to be taking up the Winston here. Finally moving back to this 2-2-2 setup. There we go. A little bit more sustainable, not as reliant on having your Wrecking Ball get as much disruption in. You have that little bit, it's a little bit more stable, I'd say.
And I don't know about you, I didn't see Cardinal swap over onto the Reaper. Already has the Death Blossom ready to go, and we've seen just how devastating that ult can be.
Sensei Shark moving over to the Ashe, not favouring the Sombra here. Now Slim is back on the Soldier, wanting that pick potential. We've seen from him so far.
Yeah, Jark there, not able to be taken down with that Immortality Field in play. Bobber does take it out, and Slim gets the Helix Rocket taking Cardinal out of the fight. I love just the target focus on Jark. They are on their targets until the targets are down. We're going to see the D-Mech onto Fusion. Are we going to see the Baby Diva stagger? Yes, we are. Nice little chase at the end there, eventually falling down.
And that was a perfect fight for the Seers, not having to invest any ultimates. With just coming up on a minute on the time bank, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 fights left for the Falcons, pushing into a 6 ultimate defense. It's just these first picks that are killing the Falcons. Right there, we saw Slim with the obvious range advantage over Cardinal and the Reaper, got the first pick. Falcons can't fight the 6v5, start falling. They've got a couple tools to work with. They have both support ultimates. Coming up on that Death Blossom from Cardinal, going to try and channel his inner Slim here.
Well, there's another big EMP. He only finds 2 there. Bobby Burr and Cardinal get taken out of that, and we have the self-destruct all the way from downtown. Take it out, both healers. Melee kill sends the main tank down. Cardinal gets a quick 2, but it's just not going to be enough.
Too little, too late. Unless Cardinal is going to switch onto something incredible here, you wanted to save that Death Blossom for the final fight. Coming out on the Doomfist, there's nothing says pick potential potential like a Doomfist. Cardinal, this is a high-risk, high-reward play. See if you can get in the back line, use that uppercut, that seismic slam, try and get a couple picks to contest Slim here, who Seers still have 4 ultimates.
Oh, we've got an aggressive sound barrier. Nothing coming out of that initial dive from Cardinal. In fact, 2 abilities, 3 abilities committed, only 1 of them connecting, looking for a target for this right click. Does manage to get the D-Mech. Bob doing an awful lot to buy space for Falcons as they start to get a little bit of a foothold on this point. Quantex there with the Primal Rage, not able to find any kills, but again, just keeping alive, keeping on the point, making it hard to cap. But Falcons, they have 4 on the point, 2 for Seers. This is where they can possibly grind this out to a kill. Sensor Shark managing to get the kill with the TNT. I feel like that kill in particular onto Ghost Dragon is one we've seen a lot. There we go. The Doomfist pick has proved huge there, as we've already seen the ultimate come out. Are they going to get this second tick? 26%, yes, they've got the second tick. Jark coming in with a big self-destruct, taking 2 out of the fight, and that is going to be all they wrote for that last team fight, but a huge final showing there for Falcons on that last fight.
It did look a bit dicey for the Falcons. Had a couple early picks go against them, did start to turn it around, but were lacking both supports there. Didn't have to sustain, get back alive, and it's just getting caught on the edge of the Diva Bomb. Still takes you out when you don't have that healing available. Credit where credit's due. That did look a bit dire for the Falcons. They did manage to secure a second tick, but coming in with 7 minutes and only walking away with 2 ticks, you've got to be a little bit disappointed with that for the Falcons.
Yeah, and it was such a good first attack. Like they came in and they just knocked Seers off the point like they weren't no thanks.
Sensei Shark got a pick on 2-legged on the Baptiste before he even knew what was happening.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a Baptiste and the Baptiste was dead. Yeah.
Well, I'd advise you to look at the screen on that one.
Oh, wow, they're on the screen.
Okay,
I
so
was just making this
going to be coming out on the offense here now for the Seers. We've seen them look pretty good, I'd say, on offense so far throughout this series. Slim actually going to be opting for the Genji here. Not a hero we've seen from him too much so far. October sticking with that trusty Sombra.
Yeah, and again, you know, I'm going to bore people by talking about it. Sombra in the right... Oh, come on. October. I'm pretty sure you can hear me talking. I don't think for a second you're running this. I don't believe this. It's not going to be the attack orb.
Do it.
Channel your inner Overwatch League troll picks.
It'll be interesting to see if the Seers do commit to this Torbjorn setup. They'll have to play a lot more passive than we've seen from them so far. We know that their tank line, Quantex in particular, likes to play really aggressive. So going for this more slow setup, if they do commit to the Torp here, nope. Back to the Sombra.
Called it.
Still got to play a little bit slow, allow your offensive Sombra to get set up, get those hacks onto the health packs, or get into the backline before you can engage. So a little bit of a waiting game for the Seers for that setup. Double hit scan setup here for the Falcons, maybe expecting a Favor to come through for the Seers.
Yeah, Sensor Shark, quite a threat up on this high ground, especially receiving the boost from Bright there, but falls incredibly low before actually getting out of the way. And this is already proven to be a very good pick for Slim, getting in there. And, whoa, whilst I'm talking, Jark gets the first kill, Quantex with the follow-up, and with your when you're off tank and your main tank, in fact, both main tanks down in this fight, we could see this possibly go in the way of Falcons. No, it's not going to be enough. There just are not enough people. There's not enough health left on point for Falcons, and we are going to see Seers not only take that point, but send Slim up in a very aggressive position.
Yeah, Quantex already 72% of the way to the Earth Shatter. Bobby Bear, only 30. Dominant Reinhardt performance on that first point, and now that's going to be setting up to Seers really well coming into this final fight. They're not going to have any ultimates online immediately, still need to get that little bit of poking to get that final push, but they're definitely going to have some of these offensive ultimates online before the Falcons. The closest Falcons are coming is Cardinal is still less than 60 to a tactical visor.
Yeah, but October in the back, they've got the Reinhardt in their sights, and that's the hack coming off. Is the focus going to be there to take Bobby out of the fight? There goes Bobby, but they do lose Jark in that exchange. But crucially, Quantex is still up in the fight for Seers, and they've got an Earth Shatter ready to go. But here's a Bob on the field. That is going to pen Falcons here on the sidelines. They don't really want to get in line of sight of that Bob if they can help it. And look at the charge. Look at the size of that beam coming out from Fusions. You do not want to be walking into that at all. But Seers, they've got a couple of classic tools coming up ready to go.
Yeah, fusion hacked, can't deploy those bubbles, but nice, healthily charged, doesn't need them quite yet. And now we're going to finally see it.
Nano boosted Genji Blade on the field, finds Bright, takes Bright out of the fight. Sensei Shot goes down as well. And we've also got that sound barrier coming out for Seers. They do lose 2 in that exchange. And it looks like despite that huge investment of ultimates, oh, Slim, the disrespect is real. Seers look like they may not have got everything they wanted out of that investment as the kills start to come back online for Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons, maybe Slim regretting not finishing off the Soldier when he could, because the Falcons had a window here, and the Seers didn't even get a single tick as the Falcons come through on that recontest. Do have to invest a couple ultimates. We obviously saw Cardinal using that tactical divisor before he was slept. Bright does have to invest a Valkyrie as well, so it's only going to be the sound barrier and the Earth Shatter online from Bobby Bear. Olifario has to be really careful with that sound barrier not to get caught up in October's EMP.
Yeah, and crucially, look at this. Legadith already halfway towards having another nano boost. Slim just needs to start getting in there. Building him again. Are we going to see the big EMP? In over the back, looking for the key targets. Crucially, finds everybody in that October taking Fusion out of the fight as the follow-up. But we need to see a little bit more coordination, because despite it being the biggest EMP in the world, those kills are for Falcons, not for Seers. They failed to get another tick.
And this is maybe one of the downsides to this Ryan Zaya setup we're seeing from the Seers. They're actually going to swap over to the dive, just as I was about to make this point. You need to contest Sensei Shark on the back on this high ground. When the Falcons have found the most success, it's from Sensei Shark popping off on heroes like the Shash, getting those headshots, getting those picks. You need this mobility, this high ground contest from the Seers with this side to be able to dislodge Sensei Shark. As long as he's up there, you aren't going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, but crucially, we have Bob in play. There is no big shield to try and mitigate some of that damage, so Bob in the right place here. And here we go, Bob coming in. He's got a nice angle on the point. Unfortunately, Slim is able to get there in the back. And this may actually be the opening we needed, but unfortunately we do lose Quantex in that fight. We've got tools though. Slim has the Dragon Blade. We've got Legadith with the Nano Boost ready to go. In fact, we are going to see that combo. Down goes Olafasu, finding Cardinal as well in that exchange. Crucially, Jark eats Fusion's EMP in that fight. Sensei Shark and Fusion though, between the two of them, are just not letting Seers get any sort of progress on this point.
And still not a single tick for the Seers. Sensei Shark did actually get a little bit greedy at the start of the fight, trying to go for that angle with the Bob, took himself away from Bright, doesn't have that healing to survive Slim's swift strike in. But it doesn't matter, because even though the Nano Blade comes through and actually cancels Olafaru's beat, the Falcons still come in on a recontest. Sensei Shark still gets those picks to turn the fight around.
Yeah, and crucially, we've got a nice, big, tasty Earth Shatter on board for Bobiba, and we've seen him get some pretty big picks on the back of that. And again, once the Winston bubble is deployed and it's destroyed, you know that you've got a window where you can shatter pretty much uncontested. They find October very early in that fight. This seems like a different Sensei Shark than we've seen in the previous two maps. They seem to be almost unstoppable on this Ash.
Sensei Shark has woken up, knows that the Falcons need something, and is ready to deliver.
Yeah.
The Seers, October is actually hovering the Widowmaker right now, actually going to be able to outrange Sensei Shark on the Ash. This is the answer Seers want to take. Not happy with the Sombra, want to be able to outrange the Ash.
Yeah, sadly nothing coming out of Jark's self-destruct there, and Falcons are just going to mop that up. They say, this is where you need to start giving us a little bit of respect, because if you come at this half-assed, we are just going to knock you off the point.
And I do actually want to appreciate the step up we're seeing from Bobby there on this Reinhardt. Getting run over a lot in the first two maps of the series, suddenly woken up themselves on this defense, getting those crucial shadows. Seeing Quantex moving over to the Winston, still being able to contest, getting actually a couple of really nice charges through as well.
Ooh, October gets hit by that dynamite. They're not quite able to find the angle they might like to try and contest Sensei Shark. In fact, I would say Sensei Shark getting the better of them in this sniper exchange.
Falcons know that the win condition,
finally, there we go.
They can't give October room to breathe.
No, absolutely. There we go. That is going to be absolutely the pick they wanted. I assume that we've got a... No, we do not have a res online as Bright falls in that fight. Seers are in a very good position now. 4 down. We are just going to see Falcons come back here and see if they can stall this out. Here comes Bob, but we've got Slim up against the spawn doors. Sends that dynamite right back into spawn. They're trapping Sensei Shark in there. Huge play at the end there from the Genji pick.
Yeah, great work from the Falcons for dragging out that defense as long as they did, but it was just too much in the end. Slim, looking pretty good on this Genji.
Yeah, do you know what? It took him a few tries. We saw a couple of wasted nano-boosted Dragon Blades, but eventually it paid dividends, and that was key for taking Olafu out before that sound barrier could
Did actually
get
cancel
in.
the tactical visor coming out as well.
Huge play. Really, really good value from those ultimates, which I think maybe goes some way to redeeming some of the other more less effective combos that we saw coming out of them.
Someone I do actually want to give a shout out to, who we mentioned a fair bit on Ican Vault, but not so much on Volskaia, is Legadif on that honor. So many of the engages that the Falcons are, the Seers, sorry, are actually winning are off the back of these huge anti-nades coming out from that Ana, being able to shut down the healing coming through for the Falcons, and it's a clear win condition. It's very hard to land those nades sometimes, especially when you're going up against a Reinhardt who's got a big shield to hold in the way, even the Diva, which we haven't seen so much from the Falcons, being able to eat it up with the defense matrix, but being able to follow up on those biotic grenades is crucial.
Yeah, we're going to have a quick look at a replay here whilst we get ready for the next. And we're, of course, going to be on board with Slim, maybe just showing me that I don't know what I'm talking about when we're seeing wasting some of these ultimates, getting 2 with the Dragon Blade there, and getting the key follow-up. Able to, yeah, we're going to see the slight disrespect. They're opting not to kill Cardinal at the end there. Quantex coming in and cleaning up the mess at the end. Not quite sure what that was for.
Even though Cardinal didn't actually get any picks, was quickly shut down by Quantex on that Reinhardt anyway, you would have maybe preferred Slim to not go for that BM, not drag the Reinhardt away from the fight, and not give the Falcons that room to come back in. Another huge Earth Shadow coming through Bomb Bear. He landed quite a few of those on that Volskaia defense.
Yeah, it's a thing that we see. Right, we're going to go see that Dragon Blade once again, taking out Olafu's sound barrier there. No, it's a nice play. It's I would frame it if I could.
How would you frame a video?
I would buy a multimedia display and put a frame on it. You can buy. It's a thing you can get on Amazon. I'll buy you one now.
Mount a TV on your wall purely to play the game over and over again.
Yeah, dedicated server just for that one
that's dedicated.
game. But what I was trying to say is, when you get to this sort of level of play, these teams having come through the group stage and the playoffs, you cannot afford those little 2-second BM moments because they will be exploited.
Yeah. Seers do have a 3-0 lead in the series. They have looked like the stronger team, but they aren't running away with it. You can't afford to disrespect your opponent in that way. Falcons are still looking alive right now.
Yeah, and it was a much improved Falcons in this map.
Absolutely.
By a huge stretch. So I'm not willing to count them out yet. We are at match point. This is best of 7. We're moving over onto map 4 shortly. In fact, we will be going over to Junkertown. Now, I've got to say, at the risk of editorializing, not my favorite map.
I like Junkertown.
Ah, well, we can never be friends. I'm sorry.
I didn't think we were anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Junkertown is a fun map. We see a lot of snipers on the first point. Maybe that's where we see Sensei Shark. We haven't actually seen too much of the Widowmaker from him, but that Ashe in particular still able to lock down those sidelines, get good work out of the dynamite onto some of these tanks. So maybe that's something we can see for the Falcons coming up
I think
here.
there's an argument to be made for Ashe over Widowmaker in some circumstances where range is not an issue, just because of the additional utility that you have over just raw damage.
If you wanted to commit to a double sniper setup on the first point here where you won that Widowmaker Hanzo, you're right. As you transition into second, if you want to still keep to the same principles, then you would definitely consider swapping your Widowmaker for the Ashe. Does have the coach gun for still a little bit of mobility, has the dynamite, of course, to be able to shut down those tanks, doesn't really struggle in close quarters in the same way that Widowmaker does either. I still think the Widowmaker is a better bet over the first point, though.
Yeah, particularly when you think about how open Junkertown is.
Absolutely.
Just everywhere is a sightline if you're in the right position.
One down on a t-shirt, everywhere is a sightline.
Everywhere is a sightline. There we go. Find that at vowels.com. Actually, maybe don't. I've no idea what's at that website. Just don't.
Don't go there.
Not going to recommend that.
Okay, so moving into Junkertown, though, it's going to be... It is interesting to see what these teams run on at first minute, because we talk about the double sniper, but you can run maybe something with a Sombra, you can run a more tank-heavy composition. Teams don't actually opt for the 3-3 here in general very much.
You know what we do see here an awful lot?
What do we see?
I think it was the birthplace of this particular variation of it, is the pirate ship.
I prefer the term protect the president myself, but whatever floats your boat. Literally, pirate ship, it's a boat.
That gives Bastion far too much respect, in my opinion. So whether you want to call it protect the president or pirate ship, yeah, sticking Bastion behind a nice big meteor shield wall and just riding that payload all the way to victory. This is the map that first saw that be the most effective strategy for
We have actually seen the Falcons already committing to similar bunker compositions. Bobby Bear taking up that Orisa, pulling out the Baptiste as well. Throw down a Baptiste with that Bastion, have that immortality field just to keep him alive. Maybe that's what we could see on the offense here from the Falcons.
I mean, because this is the thing that you see to counter that strategy is you pounce the Bastion and you try and do enough damage in the space of a couple of seconds to take him out of the fight. But with the immortality field there, you can't do that, and you can't afford to split your focus between the two.
Yeah, you do need to maybe try and bait out that immortality field before you hard engage. The answer to playing that composition, though, is definitely play aggressive, hard engage, shut down the Bastion quickly. And do we have a team here who is known for playing aggressive, having those hard engages?
I mean, it's ringing a faint bell. Something is like named after a bird. I don't know. I'll talk to our producer and find out for you. But it's certainly a thing that we could see.
So still just sorting out some issues, I believe, before we head into the next map. We are 3-0 up for the Seers, but again, this hasn't been too much of a stomp. Seers have looked like the stronger team, but the Falcons are still alive in this. They had a great Volskaia defense there, as we've just seen in particular. They looked pretty good on some parts of Ican Vault and Nepal as well. And you know, you can't reverse sweep until you're 3-0 down anyway.
Exactly, and that's what we're here for. We're here for the drama, reverse sweep. Stay tuned. So just a few seconds away from seeing what we're going to be locked into for certainly our defensive lineup. Going to see Seers starting out on the defense, Falcons starting on the attack. And we're seeing another bunker composition coming out from Seers. It's honestly not a surprise. It's something we've seen from them before.
Mirror Orisas.
Mirror Orisas. I can't think the last time I think I've ever heard that. We've got a mirror Orisa, a mirror Marissa?
Marissa.
I don't know. I'm losing control of my
Pretty
mind.
sure that's my boss's name.
Oh,
Looks
wow.
like that apple a day.
Okay, so Falcons, as we were saying, opting for that Bastion offense with Olafaru picking up the Baptiste to be able to throw down that immortality field too. And
But we have got a tool here. Jark on the Roadhog means that we can displace the Bastion. We can drag him out of the field. And that is going to be key, so you've got to watch out for that interaction, guys. If that doesn't come off, that's going to be it.
Seers do have a double sniper setup, so Slim and October may be able to pick off the immortality field from distance, but they're going to struggle to have the damage to be able to hard engage onto the setup. A great hull hook combo. Cardinal just managing to stay alive, only just.
But look how quickly this charge is ramping up for Sensei Shark, doing so much damage. 83% of the way already, and Slim is on the back foot, being chased right out of line of sight by the D.Va coming in. And we have seen the first kill, Sensei Shark taken out. October also finds Bright on that attempt at a resurrection, and despite the fact that it looks so good for that offensive push there, October in particular, well, there we go. That's the cast of curse I've ever heard of, just about talking how good they were.
Parting gift from Cardinal, but I do feel like the Fusion overcommitted onto Slim there with the D.Va, meant they didn't have the defense matrix, the damage mitigation online to keep the Bastion alive, and Fusion actually gets demet. Halt hook combos still coming out on this offense.
Yeah, and Fusion's in a position, there's so much damage coming in, they can't really get into a position to get enough damage in to get the remake as quickly as they might like. Sensei Shark, we've got configuration tank form online, does manage to crucially take that immortality field out of it, but sadly nothing else coming out of that, and in the meantime, nothing has really changed.
Time spent shutting down the immortality field gives the Seers time to run away. Crucial hook comes through to shut down October, losing a lot of that close range burst damage and taking down the Supercharger as well.
Yeah, Supercharger going out of the fight is a big blow. That's 50% of your additional bonus damage coming in. Jark already low, throws in the whole hog, sadly to no effect, as we see Sensei Shark take position once more on the payload, and they're going to start trying to ride that all the way to victory.
Yeah, Seers, of course, not having their own D.Va on this defense means they don't have the defense matrix online to eat up a lot of that Bastion spam. Committing to the whole hog there is effectively a death sentence for, I believe it was Jark moving over to the D.Va actually. So Seers committing to this defensive Bastion setup, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah. So, oh, actually managing to get a cheeky kill onto Slim there with what looked like a Hail Mary self-destruct.
But again, the D.Va goes down, you don't have that damage mitigation with the defense matrix, so that's going to be an opening here for October to have this defensive Bastion spam coming down, already taking out Bobby Bear, and rain down from above from the D.Va forces Sensei Shark back. This is good work from the Seers, starting to turn it, what was a pretty bad situation, but getting this defensive.
Yeah, having the high ground advantage here for your Bastion is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And we may see Sensei Shark maybe want to think about doing something else once this configuration tank form is offline. But October already has theirs as well, so we're going to see tank v tank.
What? Yeah, the Halt hook comes through, doesn't find anything. October already finding one pick onto Bobby Bear. Sensei Shark actually using configuration tank.
Oh,
the amplification maybe finds a 4K, free with one shot. That's why you use that combo. As soon as the shield goes down, boom.
Play of the game material right there. One rocket for 3. Yeah, you know what, Sensei Shark? Take a second to look at that spray, because that was a huge combo play as they continue to roll this ball of death right the way to the end of point B.
And now Seers actually is still going to mix things up a bit. Not feeling comfortable on the Baptiste, which I actually thought was pretty solid on that defensive setup on the high ground. Instead, opting for the Ana. Instead, just playing around negatives. Ooh, October gets a little bit over-aggressive.
Yeah, excellent dive coming in there. Manages to take October out of the fight. And we've got one Bastion down, one rezzed. We've got 2 meters left to go on the point for Seers to actually get in and do this. And Slim in the background, finally starting to do a little bit of work. They're getting kills, getting DMX, and that is going to be finally putting a bit of a halt onto this progress.
Yeah, the crossfire setup there from the Seers was beautiful. You have Slim with the Widowmaker on one flank. You have October on the Bastion, not even on the flank, just railing hell straight down onto the point. Even though the Seers tanks fall early and they don't have that point presence, except for the supports holding on for DL life, they do still manage to turn it around. Falcons, not switching anything up. It's actually interesting that they're still committing to this Aristia Bastion setup. Very hard to recontest here unless you get a huge pick. All you have really is the supercharger. Maybe Fusion can find something with the self-destruct coming online.
Well, here we go. This is the thing that we saw in the last one. That's actually a nice opening. No mech available for Jark. But we are in a position where Falcons, no, actually, Seers are taking the high ground away from Falcons. They're not opting to defend at the payload, which is honestly a really, really smart play here. Are we going to see? We're going to see a flank from October coming with this configuration. Here we go, configuration tank form right out of the fight. Only able to find one, but it is still going to halt that offensive push.
It's the Mercy as well. A lot of healing disappearing from the Falcons. Baptiste doesn't actually give too much healing on his own. Losing the resurrection as well. If he was any other pick, a solo pick, you would have that resurrection coming through. With right falling, you can't do that.
No, October going down is a big opening. Ghost Dragon 2, that is exactly what you want to see, and we've got that amplification matrix online as well. Falcons, not to be outdone, come storming back into this fight. Air Fusion not quite able to navigate that corrugated iron, unfortunately.
Falcons committing to this setup, struggle. I thought they would struggle with the recontest, but they do make it work. Sensei Shark and Fusion with those crucial picks to re-engage, and now they're just going to set up on the payloaders again. Seers opting for this dive setup. They want a hard engage onto this payload here, but they're actually going to struggle to do that if they're committing to the Bastion.
Well, it's all about timing, isn't it?
Exactly.
You've got to have the Bastion there to try and wear down the shield from Bobby, or get an early pick, and then you dive in on the back of it.
You also kind of want to take Fusion away from the fight to try and let Legadif land these crucial biotic grenades, which he's been so good at landing so far this series.
Yeah, well, here's a self-destruct in over the top, and it finds 2. Poco would be proud, taking down the main healer and the main tank in one ultimate. Are we going to see a huge biotic grenade? Is going to stop Cardinal getting away with that healing. Beautiful Ana play from Legadif.
Exactly. It was actually really smart from Jark there, waiting for the deployable shields to come through from Bobby Bear, and then immediately throwing up the bomb, because they know there was no shield available to try and stop it. Gonna see a swap up now. Bobby Bear actually going for this Reinhardt, but running the Reinhardt into this composition without desire to deploy those bubbles, it's not gonna be an easy task.
No, it's gonna be a really, really rough time. Cardinal pops the whole hog, and we've got Sensei Shark moving over onto the Ash that we've seen be so effective. Nothing coming out of that whole hog, but it does buy them a bit of space. October with the key D-Mech, and then the pulse bomb following up with a kill onto Bright as that res was coming through. Unfortunately, does get smashed by a German with a hammer at the end, but that is going to be, I think, a hold for Seers getting enough kills there.
Beautiful from October, not only finding that pulse bomb kill, but cancelling the res as well. That's what you expect from Tracer play at this level. Beautiful. Effectively taking over the fight, and now we're going to see a couple swap-ups. Ghost Dragon moving on to the Lucio. Falcons still committing to... It's a pretty interesting offensive comp. I think they want to get something out of Fusion's self-destruct here before maybe moving over to Desire. The fact that Cardinal is still taking to this Roadhog as well instead of moving to another DPS is certainly an interesting stylistic choice.
Well, I mean, it gives them a certain amount of survivability, but that is going to be the self-destruct coming out from Fusion, and they've managed to survive that, get back in the mech ready to go. Self-destruct from Jar. Can it be as big because the last one, it finds one, and the follow-up, a lot of damage into Bubba allows Ghost Dragon to come in and get that kill with the Sound Blaster, and once again, Seers come in, and we're going to see a little bit of a Mercy stagger at the end there. That's bad luck. Right, interestingly though, Bobby moving over onto the Wrecking Ball.
Falcons channeling their inner hunters here, opting for the Wrecking Ball main tank with the Roadhog and the Diva. It's going to be last fight territory here. You don't have really any time to make any changes right now. You've got to go with what you've got. They're going to throw in the Bob just to touch the point initially. Maybe the Wrecking Ball over there as well. Crucial anti-nade, and there's a nano-boosted Tracer on the field as well.
Not a thing we see an awful lot of, but we are seeing huge kills coming out for Seers. That Pulse Bomb does manage to get the D-Mech, and the follow-up from Legatif coming in with the Bio Grenade, takes Fusion out of the fight. Slim, uncontested in the back line, just with the clear-up duties at the end there, coming in for an aggressive positioning. Nobody left to fight, though. Seers finally put paid to Falcons' aggressive push.
Yeah, Falcons had some great moments, particularly on the first point there, but committing to that Bastion setup for too long, I feel. Unable to get set up in a lot of those fights. When they did actually get a set up, it was beautiful. They won fights, they were able to cap second point, still running a Bastion, but it's just too hard to get consistency out of. I would have liked to see an earlier switch up. Sensei Shark did move over to the Ashe, but it was too little too late. And committing to the Roadhog, as much as I love the character, that was too long as well.
Yeah, sadly, just not enough utility. If you're not going to be directly involved in trying to hook out that Bastion from the payload and get the recontest, then really you're not in the best of positions.
Also, one of Roadhog's biggest strengths is having that self-heal, having that take a breather. But with Legatif on the field, constantly landing those bio nades, that's taken his way as well. We're just roaming around, hoping for lucky hooks, feeding over ult charge to the defense.
Yeah, this needs to be, if Falcons want to go any further in this series, this needs to be the mother of all defenses. They need to get this win here.
Not necessarily a mother of all defenses. They did manage to get 2 second points so they can hold somewhere on first, somewhere on second, and still win this map comfortably. But you're right though, we're at match point right now for the Seers. You need to get through about 2.5 points, not even that, maybe about 2.25, and you win. You win the whole thing. Well done.
Yeah, it all comes down to this. So Falcons are taking a high ground defense here, so this does buy a lot of space for Seers to actually take possession of the payload and get into position, because crucially, Falcons do not have a sniper here.
Yeah, Slim still going to be sticking with that Widowmaker, going for the point potential, but everyone on the Falcons bunched up behind the shield. It'll be interesting, just getting a little bit of chip onto the Diva maybe, poking at the shield as well, buying time for the Bastion to get set up on the payload. Yeah,
we did see a character fall quite low there, and then I said, nice dive coming in from Jarg, secures the D-Mech onto Fusion with the help of October. Really, really beautiful target focus there. To be able to get in and out without getting melted by the Bastion is huge. Nice focus there from October, finds the Immortality field, managing to get out of that hook and back onto the point, regains control of the payload, and that is going to be Falcons rolling right the way along, Seers rolling right the way along, sorry, and Configuration Tank Form already on the field. That is 2 coming out, whilst one ball from October. Sensei Shark gets 2, and Falcons look, they may finally have a horse in this race. Are not quite able to demech Jarg, but we are going to see Seers take a step back.
Seers putting on a clinic early on, perfectly breaking down the shield and then throwing in the halt ability from the Orisa to take Jark off the high ground, taking that pick and engaging. But again, a little bit greedy, throwing the configuration tank where it's the more consistent damage coming out from Sensei Shark's Sentry form that turns that fight around. Jark's going to throw into self-destruct, takes out the Immortality field.
Yeah, sadly not going to be enough to get the kills that are required. Lots of ultimates thrown into this fight, and as the particle effects clear, we may see this come out in favor of Seers, as they were able to get the kills they needed in that fight, and we actually got a flanking Bastion there. Sensei Shark sadly falling out in that fight. There's a lot of blue on the left-hand side of that kill feed. Seers look like they are going to carry this through to point A.
Cardinal actually tried to invest his entire whole hog just to kill that Immortality field coming out from Legatif, but it was crucial from Jark using the defense matrix to shut it down while they find a pick onto the Roadhog. Means that they still have the Immortality field aligned. They can keep marching through that fight, and now seeing a couple changes now for the Falcons. Going to be moving Cardinal over to that Hanzo. Wants a little bit of burst damage from the Stormbow to shut down this bunker composition, but they're still committing to a defensive Bastion of their own.
Yeah, and you know, it's worked out for them on offense, and it's not been the worst defense so far. I think this was a better defense for Falcons than it was for Seers. Cardinal taking an off angle. Goodbye, Slim. Did not expect the arrow to the face. Self-destruct coming in is going to put a halt to that offense.
And that's really good for the Falcons on defense here. This initial start of Junkertown on second point, it's one of the hardest chokes to try and push through in the game if you can set it properly. Obviously, running this bunker composition, you can't go for an aggressive hold here. You've still got to sit in the back. But if you have Cardinal locking down that sight line, Slim can't really find a way in, and the Seers going to make some changes, opting for a dive setup here, be able to take room by force rather than trying to set up with the Bastion. This was a change I wanted to see from the Falcons last time round, and I'm glad the Seers are making it.
Yeah, I did wonder why we had that supercharger committed to the fight, but look at Slim just peppering in this damage, trying to take Fusion out of the mech, and it actually works as we see the D-mech coming through there with a bit of thanks from October. Slim opting for a low ground position here, maybe not the most usual thing for a Widowmaker, but October, we've seen them do so much work on this Tracer before, able to get in and just cause so much trouble, but they lose the duel. That is not a duel you are expected to lose up against a pilot form D.Va. That's going to feel pretty bad.
I don't know, Phil, sometimes Baby D.Va is the most deadly hero in the game. Just jumping around side to side, so hard to pick. Body Blaster does do a surprising amount of damage, and the Falcons starting to turn that around. Fusion managed to get back into mech, and they've got a lot of ultimates to work with here as well. Bobby Bear coming up on that supercharger. Nothing really to work with the Seers. They actually have some ults coming along. Jark has had some good luck with self-destructs here, so see if we can get another one here.
Yeah, October looking for somewhere to stick that pulse bomb, does get chased out of it by Fusion, not able to find a target for it just yet. We've got a couple of ultimates online for both teams. The supercharger is online for Bobby Buff. It means that they kind of have to wait, and the self-destruct coming in around the back, it only finds the immortality field. That's a real shame. Pulse bomb comes in, the stick is real, and they find two. Cardinal and Olafu fall in at the fight, and that is going to be just the opening that was required. That self-destruct coming in from Fusion, not really doing much more than buying the space to try and maybe get a little bit more recontest before this fight goes, but it's just not going to be enough. Fusion doing their absolute best, sadly not capable of it.
You know, October, Tracer, name a more iconic duo. Sometimes he just decides, we're going to win this fight. It's a nice 3K to start off, and actually a good pick onto Ghost Dragon from Cardinal. Maybe stops the Seers rolling in with too much momentum coming to this third point, but now the golden box of victory is in
right
sight.
there. You can see it.
Only 40 meters. See, Falcons, you need something big here. There's 3 minutes to move 40 meters for the Seers.
And we've only got the amplification matrix online, and I say only stick that in front of a Bastion. Pretty much everything is going to melt, but I like this from October. Oh, maybe I don't like that quite so much from October, as we do lose October in that fight, but just trying to get in the back and pressure the Bastion so that they can't get set up and ready to go. And Seers look like they're just going to take a little bit of a time to regroup and recontest here.
Well, Seers have time. That's a luxury they have. Slim does fall as well, gets a little bit over-aggressive. That's going to eat another 20 seconds off the time bank before the Seers can re-engage, but they'll still have over 2 minutes.
Look at this politeness from Ghost Dragon. Come back to help Slim back into the fight.
Okay, so Slim going to mix things up. Oh, it's been a long time since we've seen this.
We've got full dive, and I'm smashing my microphone all over the place. And we're
so excited.
So excited. We've got Ultimus to play with, but we do lose October again in that fight. It looks like Falcons know exactly what to do to deal with October's shenanigans.
Seers just giving up a couple early picks, having to eat away at this time bank, already losing a minute away, but now they're going to engage. Quantek's already taken over, and Nano Boost comes through. Yeah,
Nano Boost, but unfortunately they've got to turn and deal with that immortality field. And it looks like actually the kills are good. That was a nice dive. It comes in, it gets the immortality field. The cleave damage coming in from the electric gun, I forget what it's called, from the Tesla cannon is going to be the opening that was required as Seers close the final 40 meters and take the series.
Yeah. Beautiful setup from the Seers coming into that final fight. The Nano Boost comes through onto your Winston, eats up so much damage, hard-pocketed by Diana. The Falcons need to try and burst through that big, heavy gorilla health bar. Sensor shot, consolation. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. 3 kills from 1 bullet. Yeah, absolutely huge play there. Beautiful combination. We are going to see Seers crown our British Esports College Championship champions.
Yep, just get him a moment to... You know, yeah. So we're just going to see a couple replays now of how the Seers...
Yeah, coming back in. Let's Wow, what a map. I mean, it looked like it was maybe going to go to another map there. Falcons put up a very, very good hold. Sadly, not quite enough. A beautiful dive coming in at the end there from Quantex on the Winston with the nano boost ready to go. I mean, diving into a Bastion, it's risky, but it paid off. But let's have a look and see some of the moments that made that such an amazing, intense map to watch. Of course, on board with Sensei Shark, we've seen them be so powerful coming in with the Ash pick. And just DPS in general here doing so much work. You love to see it.
This was the kind of performance we were seeing from October and Slim all series. Constantly finding these picks out of nowhere. Nice little 3K from Slim on that Widowmaker there, grappling forward for victory.
Yeah, and it was cleanup, but it was very, very clean, very powerful cleanup. And October falls very, very low in that fight, gets hooked out of it, but able to just casually reset on point, going to move out of line of sight of that amplification matrix, and then just rain in those rockets. But I mean, whilst that's happening, look, Sensei Shark in the top right, getting the kills that actually helped turn that fight.
Well, that's one of the downsides of opting for that configuration tank, because sure, you have that burst damage, but it's still actually a lower DPS than what we see from the normal setup on the Bastion, especially with that amplification matrix to consider. Sensei Shark for just a more consistent damage turn that team fight around.
Yeah, I always think it's maybe not a misstep, but it's dangerous to run configuration tank because you put yourselves out in the open. Beautiful snipe there from Cardinal, takes the better of Slim, clean up confusions, and actually the debuff self-destructs from both of these players have been really, really beautiful to watch.
We did talk a lot about Sensei Shark as a star DPS for the Falcons, but Cardinal didn't exactly have a bad game either. In particular, on that McCree and on that Hanzo, finding just a couple early picks at the start of these fights prevents Seers getting the same level of aggression they would normally like.
And just look at the level of investment of resource coming into Quantex. They jump in, they take a lot of damage. The nano boost comes in to help keep them alive. They take a lot of damage. They pop the primal rage to stay alive, and that is just enough damage and point presence to help Seers clutch out the series.
Absolutely. You know, I'm glad we saw that 4K from the Bastion again.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever seen such an impactful Bastion tank form, Ultima. But that is, unfortunately, all we've got time for today's series. But I hope you've enjoyed what we've seen today. I know I have. And, both of these teams have come a very long way to take part in this, both metaphorically in terms of, from start to finish and having traveled in from different parts of the country. So I hope both teams are incredibly happy with their performance. I know I am.
Absolutely. Falcons, unfortunately, do lose to 4-0, but they still look like a very strong team. This wasn't a stop by any means. We saw some great work from both DPS, but Bear as well, stepping up at times on that main tank was beautiful to see.
Yeah, but we are going to be throwing over to the man, the legend, Stu, who is going to have a quick word with some of our team, so don't go anywhere.
The legend. I want to work with you again. Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. It was actually a lot closer than the scoreline suggested, and both teams should be very proud. I think Sensei Shark should come and have a chat with us as a runner-up. Give him a round of applause. Some insane DPS. Sensei Shark, you went behind quite quickly. In that third game, something lit you up. You were on fire. You were hitting them all over. Did you think you might be able to turn it around at that point?
Definitely. I think all of us, during the third game, we really started sort of picking it up because we were sort of warming up during the first two matches. Our communication was kind of off. But during that third game, it sort of just clicked with us all. So.
Did you think that, going into it, that maybe, we talked earlier and you said you were nervous. Was it nerves that stopped that communication early on?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. A lot of us, I don't know, it was sort of all over the place, really, with, we were sort of split up in loads of the pushes and the team fights, and, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
And you obviously, you ran Baptiste. I was wondering whether we'd see him at all. Did you feel as a team that you were ready to run that setup?
Yeah, definitely. We've had Olafru. He's actually been practicing quite a bit of the Baptiste, so it worked out really well for us, especially during Junkertown when we ran the Bastion.
Very good. So you're the dude with the shirt. Could you see me after? I want a picture of that. Awesome. Well done to you both. And seriously, it was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested. You should be very proud of yourself. Give them a round of applause. Well done, our runners-up. And we go over to our champions. We can have the whole team come over, but with Legadif, the captain. Come on, guys. The Seers, come on over. Up you get, come on. What would you put it down to, Ligadith? You seemed so cool, so confident. You're a multi-time champion within this series. I mean, what would you put it down to overall?
I think as a team and as a college in particular, we've got very lucky with the amount of high-level players that we have, especially on the team at the minute. Throughout that, as you said, it was really close. A lot of fights came down to a lot of macro stuff, so like diva bombs, etc. Then also a lot of micro stuff, so like reses, anti-nades, damage boosts, etc. It all comes down to it, and at the end of the day, that's what really turned the tides of most of those fights when they were very close.
You said to me at the start of the game that you felt like the DPS gents at the other end of the table were the key to turning it over. Did you feel like they were the guys now?
Yeah, I still stand by that. A lot of Overwatch in general, to be honest, it's a game about supporting your DPS. It's all teamwork and stuff, but DPS at the end of the day get most of the kills. Most ults, you know, grab, shatter, etc. It all just sets up DPS, really. So yeah, in my opinion anyway, it's flashy players, isn't it?
Your support was absolutely key, of course, and what a captain. This guy is a multi-time champion for Overwatch. Please give a round of applause to your champions, the Seers! Great champions and a great team. We will be back on this stage at 4:30 for Belong Arena Clash Tekken. Do not miss it. Please do come back.